It's looking clean, money coming through. Everybody asking who helped me break through. That tax guru got me thinking bigger now.
Welcome back to another That Tax Guru tax crime story. I'm Tyrone Taylor, enrolled agent, bringing you another real tax crime case. Join me every day, Monday through Friday, as I discuss a real federal tax crime story. Follow and share this video if you like these stories. Case file 003. Today's case is a little different for me because I actually lived a very small part of this story. Back in 2007-2008, I owned an instant tax service franchise. After about 2 years, I surrendered my franchise because there were business practices I personally wasn't comfortable with, including what I felt were excessively high preparation fees. Years later, when I saw the federal indictment and eventual the conviction of the company's founders, I can't honestly say I was surprised. Now, let me be clear. Everything I'm about to discuss comes from public court records and Department of Justice press releases, not my personal experience. So let's get into it. Most people think a tax business gets into trouble because they were preparing bad tax returns. That's not what happened here. At its peak, Instant Tax Service reportedly had more than 1,100 franchise locations across the country and collected over $70 million in tax preparation fees between 2006 and 2011. It had become one of the largest tax preparation franchises in America. But according to federal prosecutors, there were two major schemes that eventually brought the company down. The first involves refund anticipation loans, also called RALs. Years ago, these loans were extremely popular. Instead of waiting for the IRS to issue your refund, a bank would advance you money and then repay itself once your refund arrived. People loved them because they wanted cash immediately. According to the Department of Justice, Instant Tax Service continued advertising these loans nationwide after it no longer had a lender willing to provide them. Customers came into offices expecting an instant loan. Instead, according to prosecutors, many had tax returns prepared and electronically filed, generating preparation fees that often ranged between $500 and $800. The DOJ also alleged that tax returns were often filed without the customer's authorization. Now let's talk about the second issue. And this is the part many business owners need to hear. Payroll taxes. Every time an employer withholds federal income tax and Social Security and Medicare taxes from an employee's paycheck, that money doesn't belong to the business. The business is holding those funds in trust until they're sent to the IRS. According to the government evidence, approximately $1.3 million in employment taxes were not paid over to the IRS. Prosecutors also alleged the company revenue was diverted into nominee accounts, assets were placed in the nominee entities, and false statements were made to an IRS revenue officer in an effort to keep the IRS from collecting those taxes. Eventually, the federal government first pursued civil action. In 2013, a federal court permanently shut down Instant Tax Service and barred Fesum Ogbazion from the tax preparation business. The criminal case continued after that. In 2017, a federal jury convicted him of conspiracy, bank fraud, tax evasion, and willful failure to collect and pay over payroll taxes. Some wire fraud counts were later dismissed after trial, but the conspiracy conviction and tax convictions remained. Then in January 2022, he was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release in order to pay approximately $930,000 in restitution. Now here's the part that caught my attention. This wasn't a case where one bad tax return destroyed a company. According to the public record, it was years of business decisions. The IRS doesn't just examine tax returns. They look at payroll taxes, they look at collection activities, and they look at business records. Sometimes it's not one dramatic event that gets someone's attention, it's a pattern. So why should the average taxpayer care? Because payroll taxes are one of the most aggressively enforced areas of the tax law. If you own a business, those withheld taxes are not operating capital. They're trust fund taxes. Using that money for something else can create serious civil and in some situations, criminal problems. Another attention catcher was that the sentencing was fairly low for all the crimes Mr. Ogbazion was convicted of. He was facing decades in prison, but he only received 1 year and 1 month. Very interesting. And one more lesson. This case also shows how enforcement can escalate. The government first pursued civil injunctions and compliance actions before obtaining criminal convictions years later. Ignoring problems rarely makes them disappear. If anything, they usually get bigger. Again, I'm Tyrone Taylor with another Tax Guru tax crime file. Real tax crimes, real court cases, real lessons. If you enjoy learning how real tax cases can help you avoid expensive mistakes, be sure to follow the page, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next tax
Money
crime.
coming through. Everybody asking who help me break through. That tax guru got me thinking bigger now. That tax guru ain't no looking down. Yeah. From the chaos to the confidence, from surviving to accomplishments. Now the whole team leveling up. Yeah, we built this from the ground up. I stopped running from the problem, started building real options. Now I walk in like I own it, cause the numbers finally flowing. No more fear when the phone ring, no more stress when the mail swing. Everything organized, future finally looking bright. That tax guru got me back in control. That tax guru help me build a goal. Now we leveling up. Turn the pressure into power.